2016, China will have the biggest numbers of millionaires on this planet. An investor once said, if you're not in business with China, you might be out of business soon. But statistics say, if you are in business with China, you might be out of business soon. I heard Barbara once say, 70% of Swiss enterprises fail within the first 3 years. So is business making with China a mission impossible? And if so, what are the challenges we have to tackle, and what's that got to do with me? Well, it started all with my husband, who's been living in China for 25 years. Fluent in Mandarin, fluent in Cantonese, very successful. And when I was thinking of moving to China, I asked, darling, do you think I can open up my business? And he's very supportive. He very much believes in me. He said, baby, you will not stand a chance. Well, that was not really what I wanted to hear, and he fired me all up. And in fact, it's one of the reasons why I dedicated the past 6 years in studying successful entrepreneurs and managers, how they deal and how they manage and lead across cultures. So I'm here today to speak to you about 5 ways how to be out of business in China. First, play by your own rules. Imagine the Swiss national football team. 19 out of 22 are of cultural diverse backgrounds. Still, they can play the game. Still, they can win. Now let's make things a little bit more complicated. Let's take the Chinese national football team, by the way, also on the rise there, #1 in Asia, and mix them with the Swiss national team. They can still play the game. They can still win. Why? 2 reasons. First, they all play by the same rules. Second, they all know the rules. Otherwise, they couldn't play by them. Now, if you put the same diversity into a meeting room and make them work on a project, chances are very high that they're going to fail. Why? 2 reasons. First, each of them is playing by their own rules. And second, nobody knows that everybody is playing by the same rules. So how can you win here? Culture is comprising all visible and invisible rules we have. And it immediately tells you what is right and what is wrong, and what is good and what is bad. And we learned that already as a baby. That's why it's so difficult to unlearn. So is now what we call cheating, is that good or bad? Well, I'll leave the answer to you in our culture. But in China, it's not called cheating. It's called being smarter. And that's a virtue. And it's copying the original. Right or wrong? Well, with us, it's an offense, right? But in China, it's a compliment. Copy the master until you become a master yourself. So if we want to win the game, we have to know the rules.
The last speech of Nicole was for me the most valid and the most important contribution of the whole day, because we heard the whole day about market entries in China. Everything was based on facts and figures and numbers. Nobody talked about how important it is to actually pay attention to the cultural differences. This is what actually decides if you're successful. And for this, you just need to listen to Nicole, and the best is take a course with her.
I'm very glad to attend Nicole's speech. It's really good to give the brilliant view about the Chinese and also Western culture.
Nicole's speech was worth a half day or a full day training, and I can highly recommend her.
It has been fantastic what Nicole has given us, and you cannot put a dollar sign behind the value that we have received.
Nicole was just awesome. She really hit the nail on the head.
Nicole's speech on China was one of the best speeches on China I've ever heard. It was brilliant. It was very informative, yet it was entertaining, delivered with eloquence. I really enjoyed it.